Stop scrolling and subscribe now if you want to turn every failure into your greatest advantage. This audiobook will change how you think and act with 10 powerful chapters covering embracing failure, daily challenge, disciplined habits, deep reflection, vivid visualization, full ownership, intentional resilience, practical goal setting, learning from mentors, and fast adaptation. Each chapter gives clear steps you can use today, real strategies you can apply immediately, and a daily practice that builds momentum. Hit subscribe and press the bell to get a fresh audiobook every day so you never miss a lesson. This channel delivers no interruptions, and this video has no ads for you, so you stay focused. Stay until the end, because the closing exercise will rewire your response to setbacks forever. Subscribe now and commit to a life that turns every setback into forward motion. Act today, become relentless, and watch your results compound fast. Chapter 1. Embrace failures fully and analyze lessons for improvement. Failure is not a verdict on who you are. It is data about what happened and a map to what needs to change. When a plan collapses, a relationship breaks, or a goal slips away, most people react with shame, denial, or distraction. Those reactions waste time and energy and keep progress out of reach. A different response is available, one grounded in quiet clarity, discipline, and steady work. Embrace the fact that failure happens to everyone and accept it without drama. When acceptance replaces panic, a clear mind appears, and that clarity becomes the most valuable tool for turning defeat into advantage. Start by removing judgment from the immediate moment. Notice the physical sensations the body produces when a project fails. The stomach tightens, the throat tightens, the chest becomes heavy. Name those sensations calmly and breathe through them. This simple act interrupts the spiral of blame and preserves mental energy for analysis. Awareness that is steady and unemotional creates space to examine what went wrong. Document what happened in direct, precise language. Describe the facts, not the story spun in your head. The facts are the only reliable soil where improvement will grow. Next, perform a focused failure analysis using 3 questions and answer them with short, blunt sentences. What exactly was attempted? What did not happen that was expected? What controllable factors influenced the outcome? Limit answers to 1 or 2 lines each. This discipline removes the urge to invent reasons and forces a move from vague regret to specific targets. When factors fall outside your control, acknowledge them and set them aside. Stoic practice asks to care about what can be controlled and to release what cannot. That distinction channels effort towards actions that actually change outcomes. After identifying the facts, isolate patterns. 1 failed project is a single data point. 10 failed projects with the same error are a pattern. Search for recurring traps, such as rushing planning, poor time estimates, unclear communication, weak skills, or avoidance of hard conversations. For each pattern, create a compact rule to address it. Examples: always build a minimum viable version in 2 weeks, add a mandatory feedback loop after each milestone, or schedule 3 focused practice sessions per week for the missing skill. Rules remove indecision. When a rule exists, the next steps become automatic, and the chance of repeating the same mistake drops dramatically. Change the environment to support the new rules. If distraction caused the failure, then design the workspace to limit distraction. If skill gaps cause the failure, then create a learning environment that accelerates growth. This may mean blocking time on the calendar, removing certain apps, buying a course, practicing with a coach, or setting up a daily accountability partner. Environment shapes behavior. Minor adjustments to the place where work happens produce outsized improvements in what is possible. Adopt a micro habit that targets the root cause of failure and do it every day. Choose one small repeatable action that directly addresses the pattern discovered. If planning was weak, write a one-page plan for the next task and revise it nightly. If follow-through was the issue, commit to a single 45-minute focused work session at the same time each day. If emotional reactivity sabotaged decisions, practice 5 minutes of morning reflection to set intentions and calm. Small, consistent actions compound and become identity over time. When the habit becomes part of who you are, the old failures will no longer define the future. Build accountability into the system. Declare the rule or micro-habit to someone who will check in. Public commitment changes the psychology of follow-through. Choose one person who asks hard questions, who will not accept excuses, and who values your long-term growth. Share progress weekly and report setbacks the same way as wins. Reporting setbacks honestly converts them into learning moments. Create a brief progress log with measurable indicators, so judgment focuses on specific metrics, not feelings. Practice deliberate feedback gathering. After each attempt, ask trusted people for targeted feedback, not general praise. Ask 3 questions. What went well? What could be improved? What single change would have made the biggest difference? Listen without defending and write the answers down in a neutral way. Feedback is a mirror that reveals blind spots. Treat feedback as raw material and make a plan for one concrete change that will be implemented before the next attempt. Train the mind to reframe failure as information rather than identity. When a negative thought arises, such as "I failed, so I must be incapable," replace it with a factual statement. "I failed at this task, and I will use the data to improve." Repeat this reframing until it becomes automatic. Stoic practice trains the inner voice to speak plainly and to orient toward action. A steady inner voice that remains stable under pressure is more useful than any external praise. Create a ritual for recovering quickly after failure. Rituals restore order. The ritual can be as simple as 3 actions completed within 24 hours of a setback. Action 1. Write the 3 factual notes about what happened. Action 2. Identify the single highest impact change to test next, and write it down. Action 3. Perform a short restorative activity that brings energy back, such as a brisk walk, cold shower, or brief workout. The ritual anchors recovery and prevents avoidance or numbing behaviors. Consistency in this ritual speeds up learning and reduces emotional drag. Replace perfectionism with iterative improvement. Perfectionism often freezes action because the fear of falling short is too strong. Instead, adopt a 2-week iteration cycle where work ships imperfectly, then returns to improvement. Structure feedback loops tightly and treat each cycle as an experiment with measurable variables. Experiments reduce pressure because the goal is learning, not flawless performance. Over time, the iterative approach yields robust results while maintaining forward momentum. Practice intentional humility. Pride will block growth because pride hides the truth about performance. Cultivate a posture of curiosity, admit ignorance where it exists, and ask direct questions to uncover better methods. Humility does not mean low ambition. It means refusing to let ego decisions override correct strategies. Ambition guided by humility becomes sustainable and precise. Finally, convert lessons into a living rulebook. Each month, summarize the failures experienced, the key insights learned, and the new rules adopted. Keep this short and actionable. Review the rulebook at the start of each week and audit behavior against it. This habit turns episodic learning into organizational memory for the self. Over months, the rulebook will evolve and performance will climb because the same mistakes will not keep repeating. Action items to apply immediately. 1. Spend 20 minutes now writing the facts of the most recent failure in short, plain sentences. Choose the single pattern you see most often from those facts and write a simple rule that must be followed next time. 3. Design one daily micro-habit that addresses that rule and commit to it on your calendar for 30 days. 4. Tell one person about the rule and ask them to hold you accountable. 5. Set a recovery ritual to use within 24 hours after the next setback and practice it. The path from failure to success is not dramatic. It is steady, practical, and grounded in discipline. Each failure contains a lesson, and each lesson becomes a tool. Adopt a clear method for extracting that lesson. Apply small, consistent changes, and hold yourself accountable to the new standards. Over time, the work becomes natural, and progress becomes reliable. Face the facts, stay calm, work methodically, and keep moving. The conversion of failure into success is not magic. It is direction acted on with persistence and integrity. Follow the steps, and the life that once seemed stalled will begin to move forward with purpose and power. Chapter 2. Challenge yourself daily to grow beyond comfort limits. Push beyond comfort on purpose every single day and watch the small, consistent risks build a different life. Growth does not reside where everything feels safe. It appears where effort meets challenge and where a person chooses the harder path because the easier one keeps them stuck. Start with a clear, simple rule for each day that forces discomfort in a specific way. The rule should be measurable, short, and non-negotiable. Examples include speaking up in one meeting each day, completing a focused 60-minute deep work block without checking the phone, or exposing one personal idea to a trusted critic. When the rule is precise, action follows naturally. Identify 3 areas in your life where comfort has quietly become a trap. Pick one related to the mind, such as avoiding hard conversations or resisting difficult books. Pick one related to skill, like not practicing a core competency. Pick one related to body, such as skipping sleep or avoiding movement. For each area, define a micro-challenge that increases difficulty by a small amount. The goal is steady expansion, not reckless leaps. Small increases that are sustained are the engine of lasting change. Create a daily challenge ritual and place it at the same time each day. Rituals reduce decision fatigue and protect the new behavior from the flood of small excuses that derail progress. The ritual is simple. Prepare for the challenge by removing obvious obstacles. Set a timer. Start immediately. The combination of preparation, focus, and deadline forces the brain to act before doubts accumulate. Measure outcome, not emotion. Keep a 2-column log with the action on one side and the result on the other. Write 1 line about what went well and 1 line about what to adjust. Avoid long rumination. Short, precise notes are far more useful because they guide the next attempt. Over weeks, patterns will emerge, and the log will reveal whether the challenge is raising capability or merely creating stress without growth. Use the fear checklist. Before each daily challenge, write down the fear that appears in one short sentence. Name it precisely, for example, fear of looking foolish, fear of losing status, or fear of being wrong. After completing the task, record what actually happened in one sentence. Most fears shrink dramatically when documented and confronted. Repeating this exposes which fears are real and which are only stories in the mind. Anchor challenges to current strengths. Choose a challenge that stretches but still connects to something you can do. If public speaking is a weakness, but you write well, then start by reading a short piece aloud into a camera for 1 minute. If technical skills lag, then teach a beginner one concept each day. Building from existing capability provides momentum and reduces the chance of quitting completely. Adopt the 30-day compound test. Commit to a single micro-challenge for 30 consecutive days. The task must be small enough to be credible and meaningful enough to change behavior. At the end of 30 days, evaluate honestly. If improvement occurred, increase difficulty slightly and continue. If not, then refine the task or change the angle. The 30-day framework forces persistence and gives a fair test to most habits. Design accountability that bites. Public announcements are useful, but choose someone who will ask the hard questions and who cares more about your growth than your comfort. Schedule a weekly check-in where you present 2 concrete metrics from your daily challenges and 1 lesson learned. Real accountability converts intention into actual performance, because excuses lose power when they must be spoken aloud to someone who will not accept them. Practice deliberate failure in safe ways. Create experiments that are expected to be hard and possibly fail. For example, volunteer to lead a difficult portion of a project, offer to mentor someone despite limited time, or launch a short imperfect presentation and solicit blunt feedback. Intentionally stepping into risk zones in controlled ways trains courage and teaches how to recover quickly. Each failed experiment is a rehearsal for larger arenas. Use daily reflection questions to close the loop. Keep them short and direct. What did I intentionally do to push myself today? What resistance showed up, and how did I respond? What small change will I make tomorrow because of today's learning? Answer these in 1 to 3 sentences. The practice keeps learning active and prevents reversion to comfort-driven habits. Protect energy with strict boundaries. Growth demands focus and energy. Remove one energy drain that is not essential. Say no to a recurring commitment that provides little value. Pause social media for a week or reduce late-night screen time. Energy is a resource that enables challenges to be met with clarity. Guard it as you would any critical instrument. Celebrate effort, not just outcome. When the work is hard, the brain craves recognition. Mark progress with small rituals such as a short walk, praise from a friend, or a 5-minute reward. The celebration must highlight effort and process to reinforce the behavior that produces results. When only outcomes are celebrated, the mind learns to avoid hard tests that might fail. Apply deliberate variation. Repeating the same challenge in exactly the same way dulls learning. Change one variable each week. Shift the duration, increase the difficulty, alter the context, or change the audience. Variation produces new feedback and forces adaptation. The varied tests build a wider capability, not just comfort with one narrow exercise. Create a failure recovery script. When a challenge is missed or a test fails, use a short 3-step response. Acknowledge what occurred in 1 sentence, identify the one most useful tweak, and schedule the next attempt within 48 hours. Rapid resumption prevents small defeats from hardening into avoidance patterns. Train the mind in practical Stoic techniques. Begin each morning with a brief intention statement that names one quality to practice, such as boldness, patience, or clarity. End each day reviewing how that quality showed up. This primes the mind to notice opportunities to act in alignment and reduces random reactions. Stoic discipline is not about suppressing feeling, it is about directing energy toward action. Use simple exposure increments for social discomfort. If speaking up is difficult, start with a single short question in a small meeting, then increase the number and length of contributions gradually. If networking is hard, ask for 3 introductions at an event rather than trying to talk to everyone. The exposure must be manageable but persistent. Prioritize learning over approval. Replace the question, "What will they think?" with "What can I learn?" Approval seeking keeps action small. Curiosity opens new paths. Frame each challenge as an information-gathering mission. What information will this test produce that I did not have before? If the answer is valuable, then the test is worth doing. Build a success file of small wins. Document short examples where challenge produced a better outcome. Include a one-sentence reminder of the action taken and the result. On difficult days, reading this file returns focus and proves ability. Success accumulates faster than most people assume when actions are consistent. Remove passive habits that consume time but produce no growth. Cut one passive habit such as endless scrolling or repetitive low-value meetings and replace it with the daily challenge. Replace the lost time deliberately with productive risk-taking. Small time reallocations compound when stacked day after day into significant capability gains. Use the 5-minute start rule. When resistance is high, commit to 5 minutes of the challenge. Often momentum will carry the session beyond 5 minutes. When it does not, the 5-minute rule still produces value and removes the barrier for the next attempt. The practical benefit is immediate action rather than endless preparation. Commit to teaching one skill learned from the challenges to someone else each month. Teaching clarifies understanding and exposes gaps. It forces better articulation of lessons and creates feedback loops that accelerate mastery. The act of helping another also strengthens discipline and makes the growth socially meaningful. Action steps for immediate use. Write 3 daily challenge options on a sticky note and pick one for tomorrow. Set a fixed time and a visible timer. Tell one reliable person what you will do and when. Keep a short log with one outcome line and one tweak line. Start the 5-minute rule if the resistance is loud. Challenging yourself daily is not a call to reckless risk. It is a disciplined, steady commitment to expand capacity through small, deliberate acts. The work is persistent and measurable, and it becomes part of a strong life structure. Embrace the routine of daily challenge, and the gains will arrive, not as sudden miracles, but as the natural result of consistent, focused effort. Chapter 3. Develop discipline consistently to achieve meaningful long-term goals. Discipline is the quiet force that turns dreams into measurable results. It is the bridge between intention and achievement, and it is not built in moments of comfort, but in repeated choices made when no one is watching. Each day presents countless opportunities to take the easier path, skip a task, or postpone responsibility, but consistent discipline is the habit of saying no to the immediate urge and yes to the long-term gain. Begin by defining what meaningful success looks like in your life. Specificity matters because the mind cannot commit to vague ideas. Break down goals into precise actions that can be measured and tracked. When goals are visible and actionable, discipline is easier to apply because the path forward is clear. Start with a daily schedule that respects energy and priorities. Discipline is not punishment. It is structure applied thoughtfully. Assign specific blocks of time to the most critical activities. Protect these blocks by removing distractions, silencing notifications, and communicating boundaries to others. Treat each scheduled session as sacred. Approach the time with seriousness, avoiding multitasking or half-effort attempts. The small choices of respecting 1 hour repeatedly compound into massive results over months. Commit to consistency rather than intensity at first. A focused, repeated habit is stronger than occasional bursts of overexertion. Anchor your discipline with rituals that reduce reliance on motivation. Motivation is fleeting, but ritual creates automaticity. Prepare the workspace in a uniform way each day. Use the same starting routine and track each session visibly. Rituals reduce mental friction and allow action to begin without debate. Once a routine becomes familiar, the brain no longer resists effort because it recognizes the structure as safe and predictable. The action becomes natural and reliable. This reliability is the essence of discipline. Use precise goal tracking to maintain accountability. Each week, Document tasks completed, deviations from the plan, and any lessons learned. Avoid vague judgments such as good or bad. Instead, record factual results. For example, instead of writing, "I worked hard," note completed 3 chapters of study and practiced 1 hour of skill development. Clarity in tracking ensures insight into behavior and highlights areas requiring adjustment. When outcomes are visible, discipline can be reinforced because progress becomes tangible. Break goals into micro-actions that are achievable each day. Long-term ambitions can feel overwhelming without actionable steps. Identify the smallest meaningful task that moves you closer to the larger goal. Completing these micro-actions builds momentum and creates a chain reaction of accomplishment. Over time, the repeated practice of small actions transforms into a deep-seated habit of follow-through. Discipline becomes ingrained as these micro-actions become non-negotiable parts of daily life. Train self-control through deliberate restraint. Each choice to delay gratification strengthens willpower. When the urge arises to check social media, skip exercise, or indulge a craving that undermines goals, pause and execute an alternative action aligned with long-term objectives. The brain responds to repeated reinforcement by valuing long-term benefits more than immediate comfort. Each victory over short-term temptation compounds into stronger discipline, making future resistance easier and more automatic. Remove unnecessary decisions to conserve mental energy. Decision fatigue is the silent enemy of discipline. Standardize routines for meals, clothing, work times, and preparation. By reducing choices in low-impact areas, the mind reserves strength for high-stakes actions that require focus and self-control. This deliberate simplification creates capacity for sustained effort toward meaningful objectives. Visualize discipline as a daily practice rather than a one-time event. Each morning, set a clear intention. The specific tasks you will complete, the standards you will maintain, and the mindset you will carry. During the day, check in briefly to assess alignment. In the evening, review performance and acknowledge adherence or lapses. This reflection builds awareness and strengthens the connection between conscious intention and automatic habit formation. Over time, the pattern of daily commitment solidifies into character. Develop resilience to setbacks as part of discipline. Long-term goals inevitably encounter obstacles, delays, or failures. Discipline is demonstrated not in perfect execution, but in returning to the path after interruption. Cultivate a mindset where challenges are data points rather than personal failures. Each disruption becomes an opportunity to refine methods, strengthen focus, and recommit to priorities. By treating setbacks as temporary deviations rather than permanent barriers, discipline is preserved and reinforced. Establish accountability systems that enforce consistency. Share weekly or bi-weekly progress with a trusted peer, mentor, or coach. Report both achievements and missed actions honestly. External accountability magnifies internal discipline by introducing social expectation and consequence. When commitments are public or observed, adherence improves because the cost of inaction is visible and immediate. Pair this with self-reward for tasks completed, and consistent effort becomes a reinforced behavior pattern. Prioritize tasks according to impact and urgency. Discipline is not merely about completing actions, but about directing effort toward what truly matters. Evaluate daily actions and focus on those with the highest leverage toward goals. Let go of minor or low-value tasks that consume energy without meaningful advancement. Intentional prioritization ensures that discipline produces results rather than merely busy work. Each completed high-impact task reinforces the value of consistent action and strengthens commitment to the broader objective. Use micro resets to maintain momentum when energy wanes. Small breaks, short walks, or brief mental resets prevent fatigue from undermining discipline. These are not excuses to stop work, but tactical interventions to sustain high-quality effort over long periods. Discipline thrives when energy is preserved and applied intentionally. Avoid burnout by respecting the physical and mental limits while still upholding the structure of commitment. Integrate review sessions for strategic reflection. Weekly and monthly reflections help refine methods, assess progress, and adjust habits. Examine what has worked, what has failed, and why. Reflection ensures discipline is guided by insight rather than mere repetition. Document these reflections for continuity, making future planning more precise and effective. This turns raw effort into intelligent, directed action over time. Reinforce identity through action. Discipline is more than behavior. It becomes part of identity when repeated consistently. Each completed task reinforces the self-image of a disciplined person. The brain aligns self-perception with actions, making future adherence more natural. Think of each disciplined act as a brick building a structure of capability and character. Over months and years, the accumulation of these bricks creates an unshakable foundation for achieving meaningful goals. Apply deliberate challenges that extend current limits. Every few weeks, increase task difficulty slightly to prevent stagnation. This keeps growth continuous and strengthens the muscle of self-control. Discipline without challenge becomes rote and may fail when stakes rise. Gradual escalation ensures resilience and adaptability are embedded in the practice itself. Incremental increases create sustainable growth and prepare the mind and body for larger responsibilities. Anchor discipline with strong purpose. Know why each goal matters and connect daily tasks to that larger purpose. When the reason behind effort is clear, following through becomes easier even when motivation dips. Purpose gives context to action and transforms mundane effort into meaningful progress. Discipline, then, is not arbitrary. It becomes the vehicle for realizing what truly matters. Apply consistent timing and environment cues. Perform key tasks in the same location and at the same time each day. Consistency signals to the mind and body what to expect and reduces resistance. Habits are reinforced faster when context cues are stable. Over time, the brain associates place and time with action, automating focus and effort. This makes disciplined behavior almost inevitable. Celebrate strategic milestones. Acknowledge not just final results, but consistent effort and adherence to standards. Use brief, meaningful rewards that reinforce behavior without undermining goals. Recognition of progress maintains morale and strengthens the habit loop. Discipline thrives when effort is validated and reinforced appropriately. Small victories accumulate into sustainable long-term achievement. Practical immediate steps include setting one long-term goal, breaking it into daily micro-actions, scheduling fixed time blocks, establishing accountability, tracking outcomes, committing to a 30-day habit, applying deliberate restraint, and reflecting weekly. Start today and build each block consciously. Discipline is the engine of long-term success. It is not flashy, but relentless. It is built through daily actions, precise structure, measured reflection, and intentional growth. Each day of consistent effort compounds into results that seem impossible to those who rely on fleeting motivation. By committing to daily disciplined practice, even the largest goals become attainable, and the foundation for meaningful achievement is unshakable. Chapter 4. Reflect deeply on mistakes to prevent repeating them. Mistakes are not signs of weakness, but opportunities to gather insight that others often overlook. Every misstep carries information that, if examined carefully, reveals patterns, choices, and blind spots that must be addressed. Most people rush past failure with excuses or self-blame, missing the real chance to improve. True progress comes from deliberate reflection, a disciplined pause that turns errors into a roadmap for smarter actions. Begin by creating a quiet space free from distraction where the mind can focus on analyzing events objectively. The physical environment influences thought. Sitting down with a notebook, turning off notifications, and allowing uninterrupted time produces clarity that scattered thinking never achieves. Start by writing down exactly what happened without judgment. Use precise language. Avoid storytelling that shifts blame or inflates ego. Record facts only: what actions were taken, what decisions led to the outcome, what the direct consequences were. Clarity begins with honesty. This process forces confrontation with reality instead of hiding behind rationalizations. Facts illuminate the exact points of failure, turning vague regret into actionable insight. Next, identify the critical moments where a different decision would have led to a better result. These moments are the turning points, often small but decisive. Ask which choices were fully within control and which were external. Separate controllable factors from uncontrollable ones. This distinction focuses energy on areas where change is possible rather than wasting effort on factors beyond influence. Understanding this difference transforms frustration into constructive action. Analyze patterns over time. A single mistake is data, but multiple mistakes often reveal recurring tendencies. Review past decisions and outcomes. Look for habits such as procrastination, insufficient preparation, avoidance of feedback, or impulsive reactions. Each pattern represents an opportunity for strategic intervention. For every identified pattern, define one corrective principle that addresses it. A principle like always reviewing work before submission or scheduling a decision-making session with clear criteria converts reflection into a repeatable method. Ask powerful questions to deepen insight. Instead of general queries like "why did I fail?" focus on actionable inquiries. What could have been done differently at each critical moment? Which skill or knowledge gap contributed most to the outcome? How would someone with more experience have approached this? Answer these questions honestly, concisely, and in writing. This exercise moves thinking from emotion to strategy and strengthens analytical capability. Consider external feedback deliberately. Seek perspectives from individuals who are honest, experienced, and willing to provide specific observations. Avoid vague praise or generalized criticism. Ask targeted questions about choices, approach, and missed opportunities. Record these insights alongside personal reflection. Outside viewpoints often highlight blind spots that internal analysis alone cannot uncover, creating a more complete understanding of mistakes. Break down mistakes into components: decision, action, timing, and execution. Examine each individually. Determine if the error came from insufficient information, misjudgment, overconfidence, lack of preparation, or inattention. Assigning a root cause ensures the corrective measures are precise. Generalizing errors leads to weak adjustments that do not prevent recurrence. Focus on specificity. Precision makes solutions practical and actionable. Develop corrective strategies immediately. Once patterns and root causes are identified, convert them into specific actions for the future. For example, if a misstep occurred due to rushed decisions, establish a policy to pause before high-stakes choices and gather evidence. If lack of skill was the issue, schedule daily practice until competence is solid. Each mistake becomes a trigger for proactive development rather than a passive source of regret. Integrate lessons into a personal improvement system. Maintain a reflection journal where each mistake is summarized along with lessons learned and corrective actions to apply next time. Review the journal weekly to track progress and ensure repeated errors are avoided. This practice converts episodic learning into institutionalized self-improvement. Over time, the reflection system becomes a tool for continuous growth, sharpening judgment and preventing stagnation. Practice emotional regulation during reflection. Mistakes often trigger shame, anger, or frustration. Allow awareness of these emotions without acting on them. Name the feeling, accept its presence, and then return attention to the facts. Emotional detachment ensures that analysis remains objective and solutions-oriented. Mastering the emotional response to mistakes is as crucial as correcting the behavior itself, because a reactive mindset undermines disciplined learning. Apply reflective insights to future planning. Before undertaking new projects or tasks, review previous mistakes and ask what similar challenges may arise and how can they be avoided. Use reflection as a proactive tool rather than a reactive exercise. Anticipating potential pitfalls strengthens preparation, reduces risk, and builds confidence in decision-making. Reflection is most powerful when it informs future action rather than simply cataloging past errors. Use incremental testing to reinforce learning. When implementing corrective measures, start with small experiments that test the new approach. Monitor results carefully. Adjust as necessary. Gradually scale up as confidence and skill grow. Incremental implementation ensures that lessons are validated in practice and not just theorized, bridging the gap between insight and effective behavior. Build accountability into the reflective process. Share significant insights with a trusted mentor, coach, or peer who can verify application and offer additional perspective. Accountability prevents intellectual reflection from remaining abstract and ensures it translates into disciplined action. When someone else monitors follow-through, reflection gains practical impact and becomes embedded in behavior. Balance reflection with action. Reflection alone does not prevent repeated mistakes. Action completes the cycle. Immediately following insight, define a tangible next step. Perform the action with deliberate focus and track the outcome. Reinforcing reflection with immediate implementation solidifies learning and creates momentum toward consistent improvement. Adopt a habit of end-of-day reflection. Dedicate 5 to 10 minutes nightly to review decisions, interactions, and outcomes. Ask what went well, what could have been done differently, and which lesson deserves attention tomorrow. Short, consistent daily reflection prevents small errors from accumulating into larger patterns of repeated failure. Over time, this habit sharpens awareness and strengthens judgment. Develop humility in recognizing mistakes. Acknowledging errors without defensiveness or rationalization creates openness to learning. Humility accelerates growth because it removes ego-based barriers to insight. Accepting that mistakes are inevitable but manageable shifts the mindset from fear to strategic problem-solving, making reflection more honest and actionable. Reinforce learning through verbal articulation. Explain your reflection process and lessons learned aloud, either to yourself or a trusted person. Speaking insights forces clarity and tests understanding. Misunderstandings or incomplete conclusions become apparent, allowing refinement before applying lessons in real-world scenarios. Link reflection to personal values. Ask how the mistake aligns or conflicts with long-term principles. Reflection tied to values strengthens internal guidance and ensures corrective measures support meaningful growth rather than superficial success. When actions are aligned with core principles, repeated mistakes diminish naturally. Transform failures into a proactive growth mindset. Recognize that each mistake is a data point guiding improvement. Adopt a perspective where errors are stepping stones rather than dead ends. When repeated consistently, this approach strengthens resilience, sharpens judgment, and builds the ability to make smarter, faster decisions over time. Immediate actionable steps include writing down the most recent mistake in precise detail, identifying the turning point decisions, analyzing root causes, seeking one external perspective, creating one corrective strategy, and scheduling a short review to apply this insight in the next relevant scenario. Doing this consistently trains the mind to extract maximum value from each failure. Deep reflection on mistakes is the cornerstone of sustainable improvement. It transforms regret into insight, confusion into clarity, and setbacks into strategic advantage. By examining decisions with honesty, dissecting patterns, and implementing corrective measures immediately, mistakes lose their power to repeat. Over time, disciplined reflection cultivates sharper judgment, stronger decision-making, and a life increasingly guided by wisdom and conscious action rather than reactive habit or accidental repetition. Chapter 5. Visualize success clearly and act decisively every day. Success begins in the mind before it appears in reality. Every achievement starts as a clear picture in the imagination, a mental blueprint that guides action and fuels persistence. Without a precise vision, effort disperses into trivial tasks and distractions. Visualizing success is not wishful thinking. It is the deliberate practice of creating a concrete internal image of what you intend to accomplish. Begin by defining exactly what success looks like in tangible terms. Picture the environment, the people, the results, and even the feelings associated with achieving your goal. The brain responds to clarity, and a vivid mental image activates focus, motivation, and decision-making in ways that abstract ideas never can. Set aside time daily to immerse yourself in this vision. Morning or evening sessions work best because the mind is less cluttered. Sit quietly, close your eyes, and construct a detailed mental movie of your desired outcome. Include sensory details, how it looks, sounds, feels, and even smells. Imagine interacting with people, receiving recognition, or handling responsibilities with confidence. The more vivid the visualization, the stronger the neural connections that prepare your brain to act decisively. This mental rehearsal reduces hesitation, builds confidence, and primes the body for effective execution. Combine visualization with written clarity. Write a precise statement of your goal, specifying the outcome, time frame, and measurable indicators of success. This statement becomes a reference point that guides daily choices. When decisions arise, ask, "Does this move me closer to my vision?" The written statement converts abstract imagination into actionable criteria, making it easier to align everyday actions with the long-term objective. Break the vision into micro goals. Large ambitions are intimidating if approached all at once. Identify incremental milestones that mark progress toward the final outcome. Each micro goal should be specific, achievable, and timed. Crossing these checkpoints creates tangible evidence of progress, reinforces confidence, and maintains momentum. The act of achieving small, deliberate targets each day turns visualization into practical reality, one step at a time. Act decisively in alignment with the vision. A clear mental picture is useless without corresponding action. Develop a daily routine where the most critical steps toward your vision are prioritized and executed without procrastination. Remove distractions that fragment focus and adopt a bias toward completion. Every action should be intentional and measurable. Decisions that are delayed or half-hearted dilute energy and slow progress. Decisive action accelerates results because the brain interprets consistent commitment as proof of seriousness, and momentum compounds rapidly. Use visualization to anticipate obstacles. Imagine potential challenges and mentally rehearse responses. Consider technical difficulties, interpersonal conflicts, and personal limitations. By planning responses in advance, confidence grows and hesitation diminishes when problems arise. This preparation turns uncertainty into controlled experimentation. Facing reality in imagination strengthens resilience and sharpens strategic thinking. Anchor visualization with physical cues. Use symbols, notes, or images that remind you of your vision throughout the day. Place them on your desk, phone, or mirror. These cues reinforce mental imagery and maintain focus even during periods of distraction or fatigue. Repetition strengthens neural pathways, making the vision and the necessary behaviors more automatic over time. Practice immediate action on insights gained through visualization. When a new idea or opportunity surfaces during mental rehearsal, act on it without delay. Implementing ideas quickly transforms thought into tangible progress and prevents mental rehearsal from becoming mere fantasy. Acting decisively ensures the brain associates visualization with results, strengthening both cognitive clarity and behavioral execution. Measure progress rigorously, set quantifiable benchmarks, and record achievements daily. Tracking performance provides feedback, illuminates deviations from the plan, and identifies areas for adjustment. Without measurement, visualization remains theoretical and discipline falters. Each recorded success reinforces confidence and motivates further action, creating a virtuous cycle of clarity, execution, and improvement. Incorporate reflection into the process. At the end of each day, review actions taken in pursuit of the vision. Assess what worked, what did not, and what can be improved. Adjust the mental picture if necessary, adding details or refining strategy. Reflection ensures the visualization remains relevant, accurate, and actionable. It transforms abstract aspiration into continuous adaptive progress. Develop emotional attachment to the vision. Strong feelings increase commitment and perseverance. Imagine the pride, relief, or satisfaction that accompanies success. Allow these emotions to energize action rather than create anxiety. When the mind connects effort to meaningful emotion, consistency strengthens and challenges become opportunities rather than obstacles. Emotional investment fuels persistence even in the face of fatigue or setbacks. Create an accountability system that reinforces visualization. Share your goal and the associated micro-actions with a trusted mentor, friend, or peer. Provide regular updates and solicit feedback. Accountability transforms mental imagery into external expectation, increasing the likelihood of execution. Social reinforcement amplifies focus and motivates adherence to disciplined action. Use visualization to strengthen problem-solving. Mentally rehearse scenarios where mistakes occur or obstacles block progress. Identify alternative strategies and test outcomes in your imagination. This mental simulation improves agility, decision-making speed, and confidence in real situations. The brain learns from the rehearsal process, reducing fear and hesitation in practice. Commit to consistency over intensity. Daily visualization and decisive action compound over time. Brief but consistent mental rehearsal combined with focused execution often yields more substantial results than occasional bursts of effort. Habits built through repetition form the foundation of sustainable success. The accumulation of small disciplined steps produces outcomes far beyond immediate perception. Anchor decision-making to the vision. When choices arise, evaluate each against the clarity of your desired outcome. If a decision aligns with the vision, act quickly and without hesitation. If it does not, eliminate or postpone it. This principle ensures that time, energy, and focus are always directed toward meaningful advancement rather than distractions. Train resilience through adaptive visualization. Occasionally, outcomes deviate from the mental blueprint. Instead of discouragement, adjust the image and strategy. Flexibility ensures the vision remains alive and motivating, even when circumstances change. The combination of clear foresight and adaptive action enhances long-term perseverance and reduces the risk of abandoning goals when challenges emerge. Integrate micro-celebrations of progress. Recognize small achievements daily to reinforce the connection between effort and outcome. Short acknowledgements like noting completed milestones or marking successes in a journal maintain momentum and motivation. Reinforcement strengthens neural pathways, embedding both the vision and the behavior required to achieve it. Practice multisensory visualization. Include sight, sound, touch, and even taste or smell if relevant. Multisensory imagery produces a more immersive mental rehearsal, which strengthens cognitive and emotional commitment. The mind reacts to vivid experiences as if they are real, training the body and decision-making systems for effective execution in reality. Use the morning as a launchpad. Begin each day by revisiting the visualization, reviewing priorities, and taking one decisive action immediately. Early execution reinforces momentum and creates psychological leverage for the remainder of the day. Starting with clarity and action sets the tone for consistent progress. Leverage visualization to inspire creativity. Mentally exploring the desired outcome can reveal innovative approaches, shortcuts, or unique solutions that would not appear under routine thinking. This dynamic use of imagination transforms planning into strategic advantage and ensures that action is both creative and targeted. Immediate actionable steps include defining a clear, measurable vision, creating a daily visualization session, breaking the vision into micro goals, scheduling focused execution periods, documenting results, and reflecting on improvements nightly. These steps transform abstract aspiration into concrete, continuous progress. Visualization paired with decisive action is the engine that propels dreams into reality. The mental blueprint clarifies direction, primes decision-making, and motivates effort, while immediate, focused action converts thought into tangible outcomes. Daily practice, rigorous tracking, and adaptive reflection ensure sustained advancement. When this cycle is applied consistently, success becomes inevitable because the mind, body, and habits are aligned toward a clear and compelling target, creating unstoppable momentum toward achievement. Chapter 6. Take responsibility actively for outcomes and personal growth. Taking full responsibility for your life is the single most powerful action you can take to change outcomes and accelerate personal growth. Responsibility is not a passive acknowledgement, but an active commitment to own every choice, consequence, and opportunity for improvement. When life feels chaotic or unfair, the natural impulse is to blame circumstances, other people, or bad luck. This reaction may provide temporary relief, but it erodes control and prevents growth. True progress requires stepping forward, facing reality, and recognizing that the results you experience today are the product of your actions, decisions, and habits up to this moment. Start by examining daily choices. Every day is a collection of actions that accumulate into results. Ask yourself, what did I do today that advanced my goals? What decisions contributed to setbacks? Be brutally honest. List both achievements and errors, without rationalization. This exercise builds awareness and trains the mind to identify patterns of responsibility. Clarity and ownership creates a direct connection between behavior and outcomes, empowering you to intervene effectively rather than waiting for external forces to change circumstances. Remove excuses entirely. Excuses are the natural enemy of personal accountability because they shift power away from the individual. Recognize that excuses may feel comforting, but ultimately sabotage growth. Instead of saying, "I can't because of circumstances," replace the statement with, "I will figure out how." This subtle but critical change shifts the mind from passive reaction to active problem solving. Every time an excuse is resisted, confidence grows and the habit of accountability strengthens. Establish a personal growth plan anchored in responsibility. Identify key areas in life where performance matters: skills, health, relationships, career, and finances. For each area, define actionable goals that you can influence directly. Avoid goals tied primarily to external validation or uncontrollable events. When objectives are fully under your influence, responsibility becomes practical rather than abstract, and progress is measurable. Track decisions and outcomes rigorously. Maintain a log of daily actions, choices, and consequences. Record what went well, what went poorly, and what could have been done differently. This habit transforms reflection into structured insight and makes accountability tangible. By analyzing patterns, you discover leverage points where small changes produce meaningful results. Over time, the log becomes a map of personal growth, highlighting areas of consistent responsibility and exposing recurring lapses. Embrace challenges as opportunities to practice responsibility. Difficult situations often trigger avoidance or blame. Confront them deliberately and ask, "How can I respond effectively rather than react defensively?" Each time a challenge is met head-on, confidence in your ability to influence outcomes expands. Responsibility thrives in adversity because it requires active engagement, strategic thinking, and emotional control. Facing discomfort directly accelerates growth in ways comfort never can. Use proactive decision-making to reinforce control. Avoid passive waiting for circumstances to dictate action. Plan, prepare, and act decisively on opportunities you can influence. Anticipate potential obstacles and develop contingency steps. By taking initiative consistently, you reduce reliance on luck or external factors and demonstrate tangible ownership over outcomes. Proactive behavior transforms intention into accomplishment and instills a sense of personal authority. Apply responsibility to both successes and failures. Owning achievements ensures that confidence is grounded in effort, not chance. Recognize the specific actions that led to positive outcomes and reinforce the habits that produce them. Conversely, analyze failures without denial or avoidance, identifying precise missteps and corrective measures. The dual application of responsibility builds resilience, sharpens judgment, and strengthens the ability to influence results consistently. Hold yourself accountable publicly when appropriate. Sharing intentions, plans, and progress with a trusted mentor, peer, or group increases adherence. Social accountability amplifies personal responsibility by adding visibility and expectation. When commitments are known, inaction carries a consequence beyond internal disappointment. This external layer reinforces discipline and embeds accountability into behavior. Develop mental resilience to manage discomfort inherent in responsibility. Owning outcomes can create pressure, uncertainty, or criticism. Train the mind to focus on solutions rather than stress. Recognize that discomfort is a natural companion to growth and that embracing it produces stronger results. The ability to stay calm, focused, and effective under pressure is a hallmark of disciplined responsibility. Integrate reflection into the responsibility process. Set aside time daily to assess choices, outcomes, and alignment with long-term objectives. Ask, what did I control today? Where did I act decisively? Where did I defer responsibility? Reflection ensures lessons are captured, habits are adjusted, and growth is deliberate rather than accidental. Over time, disciplined reflection solidifies accountability into a core personal trait. Eliminate dependency on external validation. Responsibility thrives when internal standards guide action, rather than seeking praise or fear of criticism. Focus on what must be done to achieve desired outcomes, not on perception or approval. Internal motivation aligns energy with purpose, creating sustainable progress. When actions are guided by responsibility, results follow naturally, and external validation becomes a byproduct rather than the goal. Use mistakes as catalysts for improvement. Responsibility does not mean never failing. It means owning the failure, analyzing the cause, and implementing corrective action immediately. Identify what went wrong, why it happened, and what precise step will prevent recurrence. Repetition of this process strengthens judgment and embeds accountability into every action. Mistakes become tools for learning rather than sources of avoidance or blame. Combine responsibility with incremental action. Large goals can feel overwhelming if approached all at once. Break objectives into manageable steps that can be executed consistently. Focus on what can be done today, not hypothetical outcomes tomorrow. Small, consistent actions compound, producing significant long-term results. Daily accountability ensures that incremental progress aligns with overarching goals. Strengthen habits that support ownership. Actions such as punctuality, follow-through, preparation, and discipline reinforce responsibility automatically. When habits are aligned with personal accountability, fewer decisions require conscious effort, and outcomes consistently reflect ownership. Strong habits reduce reliance on willpower and create a foundation for sustained growth. Challenge excuses in real time. When faced with an opportunity to shift blame or rationalize failure, stop and correct the thought immediately. Replace passive reasoning with a solution-oriented question. How can I take action to improve this outcome? Training the mind to intervene in excuses strengthens active responsibility and reinforces the mindset of control. Anchor responsibility in core values. Define principles that guide behavior regardless of circumstance. When every decision is filtered through consistent values, ownership becomes straightforward because there is clarity on what must be done. Values act as a compass, ensuring actions align with long-term objectives even under pressure or temptation. Leverage accountability tools to track growth. Use journals, apps, or visual boards to monitor actions, progress, and corrective measures. Recording results creates transparency for self-assessment and enables rapid identification of areas requiring more focus. Tangible tracking transforms abstract responsibility into measurable progress. Practice scenario planning. Anticipate potential challenges or decisions and rehearse responsible responses mentally. Visualization of effective action prepares the mind to act decisively when real situations occur. This preparation strengthens confidence, reduces hesitation, and ensures behavior aligns with desired outcomes. Apply responsibility to relationships. Own your role in conflicts, miscommunications, or opportunities to support others. Recognizing influence over interpersonal outcomes builds trust, improves collaboration, and reinforces personal growth. Accountability is not limited to professional or material domains. It extends to all areas where choices impact results. Immediate actionable steps include writing a list of current challenges, identifying controllable actions for each, committing to one decisive action daily, tracking outcomes, reflecting nightly on choices made, eliminating excuses in real time, and reviewing progress weekly with accountability. Taking active responsibility transforms life because it converts passivity into control, errors into lessons, and effort into results. Each choice becomes deliberate, each outcome becomes actionable, and each day contributes to growth. By fully owning results and committing to improvement, the path to success becomes predictable, measurable, and empowering. Responsibility is not optional for achievement. It is the foundation of all meaningful progress and personal evolution. Chapter 7. Build resilience intentionally to overcome obstacles with strength. Resilience is not an innate trait reserved for a few, but a skill that anyone can develop deliberately and strengthen over time. It is the ability to endure hardship, adapt to challenges, and keep moving forward when circumstances are unfavorable. Life will inevitably present obstacles, setbacks, and moments of frustration, but the difference between those who succeed and those who stagnate is how they respond to adversity. Building resilience intentionally means training the mind and body to face difficulties with composure, clarity, and determination rather than avoidance or despair. Begin by accepting that challenges are a normal and essential part of growth rather than exceptions to a smooth life. Start with awareness of personal reactions to stress. Observe how you respond when plans fail, deadlines are missed, or conflicts arise. Identify patterns of avoidance, panic, or frustration. Recognizing these reactions is the first step in controlling them. Once patterns are identified, consciously choose an alternative response. Pause, assess, and decide on a constructive action rather than reacting impulsively. This shift in approach strengthens mental control and begins the deliberate building of resilience. Practice reframing difficulties as opportunities for development. Each obstacle contains information, lessons, and potential growth. Ask yourself, what can this teach me? How can it improve my skills, patience, or judgment? This perspective transforms challenges from threats into exercises that sharpen capability and character. Reframing does not remove discomfort, but it changes the mental interpretation, allowing energy to be directed towards solutions rather than wasted on negativity. Develop physical resilience as part of the process. Mental strength and physical endurance are interconnected. Regular exercise, sufficient sleep, and proper nutrition create a foundation for handling stress and sustaining effort over time. Physical discipline reinforces mental discipline, providing a stable platform to face challenges without being overwhelmed by fatigue or weakness. Small, consistent practices, such as daily walks, strength training, or stretching, contribute cumulatively to overall resilience. Train emotional control deliberately. Strong emotions are natural in adversity, but allowing anger, fear, or despair to dominate decisions weakens response capability. Techniques such as controlled breathing, meditation, or structured reflection help regulate emotions and maintain focus under pressure. Each successful regulation reinforces the mind's ability to respond intentionally, rather than reactively. Emotional mastery ensures obstacles are approached with clarity and strategic thinking rather than chaos. Break challenges into manageable parts. Large obstacles can feel insurmountable when considered as a whole. Analyze the situation and identify controllable elements. Focus on addressing one component at a time. This approach prevents overwhelm, creates achievable targets, and builds incremental confidence. Each completed step demonstrates capability and strengthens belief in the ability to overcome the larger challenge. Strengthen resilience through routine exposure to difficulty. Intentionally seek situations that stretch comfort zones, whether through learning new skills, taking on demanding tasks, or facing social challenges. Controlled exposure to stress trains the mind to tolerate discomfort, reducing the fear of unexpected hardship. The repeated practice of facing manageable challenges builds endurance for more significant adversity. Build problem-solving skills systematically. Resilience is not merely enduring difficulty, but effectively navigating it. When an obstacle arises, identify possible solutions, weigh outcomes, and act decisively. Evaluate the effectiveness of the action taken and adjust as needed. Developing a structured approach to problem solving reduces uncertainty and reinforces confidence in the ability to handle future obstacles. Maintain perspective on setbacks. Temporary failures do not define long-term potential. Develop the habit of distinguishing between temporary challenges and permanent limitations. Viewing setbacks as short-term deviations rather than irreversible defeats preserves motivation, encourages adaptation, and prevents despair from derailing effort. Perspective allows energy to remain focused on solutions instead of being consumed by negative emotion. Cultivate social support to reinforce resilience. Relationships with trustworthy individuals provide guidance, feedback, and encouragement. Sharing experiences and receiving perspective can prevent isolation and reduce the psychological weight of challenges. Social connections offer both practical advice and emotional reinforcement, enhancing the ability to persist when obstacles seem overwhelming. Use deliberate reflection to extract lessons from adversity. After each challenging experience, analyze what occurred, what strategies worked, what mistakes were made, and how to respond differently in the future. Document insights and apply them in subsequent situations. Reflection transforms hardship into structured knowledge, converting experience into a tool for continuous growth rather than random suffering. Visualize successful navigation of obstacles. Mental rehearsal of facing challenges and achieving outcomes prepares the mind for real scenarios. Visualization builds confidence, reduces fear, and primes effective action. Picture each step required, anticipate difficulties, and imagine appropriate responses. The brain responds to repeated rehearsal by improving decision-making speed and precision in actual situations. Reinforce resilience with incremental achievement. Each completed task under adversity serves as evidence of capability. Celebrate small victories, acknowledge progress, and recognize the connection between effort and outcome. Cumulative success strengthens confidence and reinforces the mindset that obstacles can be overcome, encouraging persistence in future challenges. Develop adaptability in strategy and mindset. Resilient individuals remain flexible in approach, adjusting tactics as conditions change without abandoning objectives. Rigid thinking in the face of evolving circumstances limits progress. Train the ability to pivot, experiment, and refine methods while keeping goals in focus. Adaptability converts unexpected challenges into manageable variations rather than barriers. Strengthen focus under pressure. Resilience requires sustained attention, even when distractions, stress, or external demands compete for energy. Practice maintaining concentration on the task at hand, using techniques like prioritization, time blocking, and eliminating unnecessary interruptions. Focused action ensures effort is effective rather than diffused, reinforcing competence and building confidence under adversity. Commit to continuous self-improvement. Resilience grows when effort is directed towards skills, knowledge, and habits that increase capacity to handle challenges. Identify gaps, create learning plans, and implement them consistently. Proactive growth reduces vulnerability to obstacles and strengthens the ability to respond decisively when difficulties arise. Growth-oriented resilience prepares the mind and body for progressively greater challenges. Anchor resilience in purpose. Understanding why a goal matters increases the ability to endure difficulty. Purpose provides motivation when comfort and convenience might otherwise dictate inaction. A clear sense of direction ensures that obstacles are approached as necessary steps toward meaningful outcomes rather than arbitrary disruptions. Purpose transforms struggle into intentional progress. Apply resilience to daily routines, not just crises. Strength is reinforced when challenges are encountered regularly in controlled forms. By incorporating minor obstacles, demanding tasks, and mental exercises into everyday life, the mind becomes accustomed to discomfort and develops the reflex to respond effectively. Routine reinforcement creates a foundation for responding to larger, unexpected challenges with confidence. Track resilience growth over time. Document instances of challenges, responses, and outcomes. Review progress periodically to assess improvement and identify remaining weaknesses. Tracking creates awareness, reinforces positive behavior, and guides further training. Reflection on past success strengthens confidence and reduces fear in facing future obstacles. Use deliberate optimism as a tool for resilience. Maintaining belief in the possibility of positive outcomes fuels persistence. Optimism does not ignore reality, but frames it as actionable, manageable, and temporary. Positive expectation motivates effort, reduces stress, and improves problem solving, making challenges more approachable and less overwhelming. Immediate actionable steps include listing current obstacles, breaking them into manageable parts, defining one actionable response for each, scheduling controlled exposure to minor challenges, tracking progress daily, reflecting on lessons learned, and reinforcing incremental wins. Consistently applying these steps builds strength, focus, and adaptive capability over time. Building resilience intentionally ensures that obstacles are not permanent roadblocks, but opportunities to demonstrate capability and grow stronger. Each encounter with difficulty, when approached strategically, strengthens judgment, confidence, and perseverance. Through deliberate practice, structured reflection, and consistent action, resilience becomes an unshakable skill, enabling the pursuit of goals with unwavering determination, regardless of the challenges faced. Chapter 8. Set practical goals continuously and pursue them relentlessly. Goals are the backbone of progress and the blueprint that transforms intention into achievement. Without them, effort becomes scattered, time is wasted, and energy dissipates without producing meaningful results. Setting practical goals continuously ensures that every day contributes to tangible improvement and that momentum is maintained. Practicality is essential because goals must be achievable, measurable, and actionable. They should stretch ability without creating discouragement. Continuously pursuing these goals creates consistency, discipline, and a clear sense of direction in life. Start by identifying areas of life that require focus, such as health, skills, career, relationships, or financial stability. For each area, define specific objectives that reflect genuine priorities rather than external pressures. Practical goals are grounded in reality and focus on aspects that can be influenced directly. For instance, instead of aiming vaguely to be successful, specify measurable targets like learning a particular skill, completing a project, or improving performance in defined ways. Clarity converts abstract ideas into actionable steps. Break large goals into smaller milestones that can be completed incrementally. Long-term objectives often feel overwhelming, which leads to procrastination or abandonment. By segmenting them into achievable units, progress becomes visible, motivation remains high, and success becomes a series of consistent accomplishments rather than a distant dream. Each small victory reinforces confidence and validates the approach, strengthening commitment to the overarching objective. Prioritize goals based on urgency and impact. Not all objectives carry equal weight, and spreading effort too thin reduces effectiveness. Focus on actions that produce the greatest positive outcomes and align with long-term vision. Daily planning should concentrate on high-priority tasks first, ensuring that time and energy are directed where they matter most. Relentless pursuit is not random intensity, but disciplined, targeted effort. Define measurable criteria for success. Vague goals create ambiguity, making it difficult to track progress or adjust strategies. For each goals create ambiguity, making it difficult to track progress or adjust strategies. For each goal, identify clear metrics that signal accomplishment. These indicators can be quantitative, such as revenue targets, skill mastery levels, or task completion rates, or qualitative, such as improved confidence or enhanced relationships. Metrics allow precise evaluation and help maintain focus on real progress rather than perception. Implement a daily action plan that aligns with goals. Each day should include deliberate steps designed to advance objectives. Avoid reactive behavior that responds only to immediate demands or distractions. Proactive scheduling of tasks ensures consistent forward motion. By acting every day in alignment with defined goals, effort compounds, and even small incremental progress builds into significant achievement over time. Use accountability to reinforce persistence. Share goals with a trusted individual or group who can monitor progress, provide feedback, and offer encouragement. Accountability increases motivation and reduces the likelihood of neglecting commitments. Public or semi-public acknowledgement of objectives adds a layer of commitment that strengthens resolve and prevents drifting away from priorities. Review goals regularly and adjust as needed. Life circumstances, resources, and understanding evolve over time. Periodic assessment ensures that goals remain relevant, realistic, and aligned with long-term objectives. Adjustments may involve refining strategies, re-evaluating timelines, or redefining targets. Flexible adaptation preserves momentum while keeping effort meaningful and directed toward actual improvement rather than outdated intentions. Maintain focus through visualization and mental rehearsal. Imagine achieving each goal vividly, including the process, challenges, and rewards. Mental rehearsal strengthens confidence, primes problem-solving abilities, and reduces hesitation when facing obstacles. Visualizing success daily reinforces motivation and clarifies the behaviors required to reach desired outcomes. Develop resilience to obstacles encountered in goal pursuit. Challenges are inevitable, and setbacks will occur. Approach these interruptions as part of the process rather than as failures. Analyze the situation, extract lessons, and adjust the approach. Persistence in the face of difficulty strengthens character, sharpens judgment, and increases the probability of ultimate success. The relentless pursuit of practical goals requires patience, adaptability, and sustained effort. Celebrate milestones to maintain motivation. Recognizing completed objectives, no matter how small, reinforces positive behavior, encourages consistency, and builds momentum for tackling the next challenge. Celebration is not indulgence, but acknowledgement of progress, which sustains energy and focus over long-term pursuits. Positive reinforcement accelerates learning and fosters a habit of disciplined achievement. Document all goals and progress in a tangible system. Journals, planners, or digital tracking tools create visibility and structure. Recording actions, outcomes, and adjustments transforms abstract intention into measurable reality. Tracking provides clarity on which strategies are effective, what requires change, and how consistently effort is being applied. Concrete evidence of progress enhances confidence and drives further action. Balance ambition with realism. Practical goals are demanding but attainable. Setting targets that are too easy breeds complacency, while excessively ambitious goals generate frustration or burnout. Evaluate resources, skills, and constraints to ensure objectives are challenging yet feasible. This balance fosters steady advancement, confidence, and long-term sustainability. Integrate micro goals into daily routines. Small, consistent steps toward larger objectives are more powerful than sporadic bursts of effort. Daily habits aligned with goals automate progress and reduce reliance on willpower alone. Incremental achievement compounds, creating a trajectory of continuous improvement that accumulates into significant results. Apply critical evaluation to strategies. Regularly assess whether actions are producing desired outcomes. Identify inefficiencies, obstacles, or behaviors that undermine progress. Adjust methods as necessary to optimize performance. Continuous refinement ensures that effort remains effective and that pursuit of goals is always strategic rather than blind. Maintain internal motivation by linking goals to personal values. Goals anchored in deeply held beliefs and priorities produce sustained effort even when external rewards are delayed or absent. Align objectives with purpose, and persistence becomes natural because action is meaningful rather than arbitrary. Motivation derived from values provides stability through challenges and reinforces consistent pursuit. Anticipate potential obstacles and plan contingency actions. Identify scenarios where progress may be interrupted and define specific steps to maintain momentum. Preparation reduces stress, accelerates response, and ensures obstacles do not derail commitment. Strategic foresight transforms unpredictability from a source of fear into an opportunity for preparedness and problem solving. Use iterative learning to enhance pursuit. Each completed goal, partial success, or failure is an opportunity to refine strategy and approach. Extract lessons, adjust methods, and apply knowledge to future objectives. Continuous learning ensures improvement, accelerates, and reduces the likelihood of repeating mistakes. Goal pursuit becomes a dynamic, evolving process rather than a static checklist. Reinforce persistence with time-bound targets. Deadlines create urgency, focus, and accountability. They reduce procrastination and encourage structured effort. Time constraints must be realistic to prevent unnecessary pressure, but they ensure that goals remain actionable rather than indefinite aspirations. The combination of clarity and time frame drives relentless forward motion. Immediate, actionable steps include defining one priority goal today, breaking it into specific milestones, scheduling daily tasks aligned with the goal, documenting progress, reviewing achievements weekly, adjusting strategies as needed, and reinforcing commitment through visualization and reflection. Consistent application of these steps transforms abstract ambitions into practical, measurable, and unstoppable progress. Setting practical goals continuously and pursuing them relentlessly creates a life structured by intention, clarity, and disciplined action. Each day contributes to measurable improvement, obstacles are systematically addressed, and momentum compounds into significant achievement. Goals act as a guide, providing focus, direction, and motivation. When pursued with persistence, flexibility, and strategic action, they ensure that effort translates into tangible results, personal growth, and long-term success. Chapter 9. Learn persistently from mentors and successful role models. Learning from mentors and successful role models is one of the most effective strategies to accelerate personal growth and avoid common mistakes. Observing and understanding the methods, mindset, and behaviors of individuals who have achieved what you aspire to accomplish provides a roadmap that can shorten the path to success. Mentorship is not passive. It requires active engagement, reflection, and consistent application of the lessons observed. By studying the actions and decisions of those who excel, you gain insight into strategies, habits, and attitudes that produce results, and you begin to internalize practices that would otherwise take years to develop through trial and error. Start by identifying individuals who exemplify the skills, values, and achievements you want to emulate. This could include leaders in your field, experienced colleagues, historical figures, or even peers who demonstrate exceptional capability. Look beyond surface-level success and focus on the behaviors, routines, and decision-making processes that drive their accomplishments. Observing how someone handles challenges, prioritizes tasks, and maintains discipline provides actionable lessons that can be adapted to your own life. Engage with mentors actively when possible. Ask questions, seek feedback, and observe their problem-solving techniques. Be attentive to how they structure their day, manage setbacks, and make critical choices. Take notes and record insights. Then reflect on how these lessons can be integrated into your own routines and mindset. Interaction with a mentor allows learning to be personalized, making the transfer of knowledge more effective and applicable to real situations. Study the habits of role models systematically. Successful people often share common practices. Disciplined routines, prioritization, focus on learning, and resilience in adversity. Analyze which behaviors contribute directly to outcomes and which are supportive habits that maintain long-term effectiveness. Distinguish between superficial traits and substantive actions that create measurable results. Internalizing meaningful habits accelerates your ability to act with purpose and intention in daily life. Apply lessons immediately and consistently. Observation alone is insufficient. Learning must translate into action. Test strategies in your own context, adjusting for personal strengths, weaknesses, and circumstances. Immediate application strengthens retention, provides feedback on effectiveness, and begins the transformation of theory into practical skill. The combination of observation and implementation produces rapid, sustainable growth. Develop a mindset of continuous curiosity. Learning from mentors and role models is not a one-time exercise, but a lifelong process. Seek to understand not only what they achieved, but why and how they approached challenges. Cultivate the habit of asking questions and reflecting on solutions and strategies. Persistent curiosity ensures that learning remains active, relevant, and adaptive to changing circumstances. Observe decision-making under pressure. One of the most valuable insights from successful individuals is how they respond to critical moments. Study how they manage risk, prioritize under constraints, and navigate uncertainty. Recognize the thought processes, preparation, and emotional control that inform effective choices. Understanding these mechanisms provides a framework for handling high-stakes situations in your own life. Learn from failures and setbacks experienced by mentors and role models. Success is often accompanied by obstacles, mistakes, and temporary defeats. Examine how they responded, adapted, and recovered. Identifying patterns of resilience, resourcefulness, and persistence offers guidance on how to overcome challenges in your own journey. Learning from others' setbacks is a way to gain wisdom without enduring the same costs personally. Incorporate observation into daily life. Beyond direct mentorship, read biographies, listen to interviews, study public talks, and analyze professional examples relevant to your goals. Passive learning through media can provide supplemental insights, exposing you to diverse perspectives, strategies, and solutions. Combine this knowledge with practical experimentation to reinforce understanding and application. Develop reflective analysis skills. After observing a mentor or role model, critically evaluate which behaviors, strategies, and approaches are relevant and feasible for your context. Identify actionable steps that can be implemented immediately, then plan follow-through. Reflection ensures that learning is intentional rather than superficial and increases the likelihood of successful application. Seek feedback regularly. Mentorship is not just about observation, it is also about interactive improvement. Present your approach, progress, or decisions to your mentor and request constructive critique. Feedback provides clarity on blind spots, reinforces correct practices, and accelerates learning by addressing errors early. Active feedback loops amplify growth and prevent stagnation. Practice emulation selectively. Imitate behaviors, routines, and mindsets that are effective and align with your goals while adapting them to your personal circumstances. Blind copying is counterproductive. Thoughtful emulation allows you to internalize successful strategies without sacrificing authenticity or efficiency. The goal is integration rather than replication. Leverage lessons from multiple sources. No single mentor or role model possesses all the answers. Study various individuals with complementary strengths, perspectives, and experiences. Synthesizing insights from diverse examples creates a versatile, adaptable approach to challenges and opportunities, ensuring a broader and more resilient skill set. Document insights and strategies. Maintain a journal or digital log of lessons learned, practical applications, and reflections. Writing reinforces memory, provides reference points for future challenges, and allows tracking of growth over time. Documentation transforms observed wisdom into structured knowledge, ready for consistent application. Commit to disciplined observation. Learning from mentors requires intentionality and focus. Allocate dedicated time to study methods, routines, and approaches systematically. Avoid passive exposure that is unstructured or inconsistent. Discipline in observation mirrors the discipline required to achieve personal goals, creating reinforcement between learning and action. Identify core principles behind success. Look beyond actions to the values, priorities, and reasoning that underpin decisions. Understanding the why behind strategies allows you to adapt them to new contexts and ensures that learning is transferable across different challenges. Principles are timeless. Tactics may change depending on circumstances. Apply iterative testing. Integrate strategies incrementally, monitor outcomes, and refine approaches based on results. Learning from mentors is not static. It requires experimentation and adjustment to optimize effectiveness in your unique circumstances. Each iteration strengthens competence, decision-making, and confidence. Use challenges as teaching moments. Observe how mentors handle stress, conflict, and setbacks, then emulate their coping mechanisms and problem-solving methods. Applying these lessons in your own life strengthens resilience, sharpens judgment, and reinforces constructive behaviors under pressure. Balance admiration with critical thinking. While studying successful role models, recognize that no individual is perfect. Evaluate lessons critically to distinguish between effective strategies and personal idiosyncrasies. Integrating wisdom thoughtfully ensures growth without unnecessary imitation of ineffective habits. Maintain consistent engagement. Learning from mentors is ongoing. Regularly seek insights, revisit lessons, and integrate new perspectives as circumstances evolve. Persistent engagement ensures knowledge remains relevant, actionable, and embedded into daily practice. Immediate actionable steps include identifying one mentor today, scheduling a discussion or observation session, documenting key behaviors and strategies, applying one lesson immediately, reflecting on results nightly, seeking feedback from the mentor, and iterating application over time. Consistent execution of these steps transforms external wisdom into internal competence and accelerates progress toward personal objectives. Learning persistently from mentors and successful role models accelerates development, prevents unnecessary mistakes, and provides a blueprint for effective action. The process requires deliberate observation, critical reflection, disciplined application, and continuous adaptation. By internalizing the behaviors, strategies, and mindsets of those who have achieved excellence, you gain insight, efficiency, and confidence that can transform challenges into opportunities and potential into measurable success. Chapter 10. Adapt quickly to change and transform setbacks immediately. Change is inevitable, and the speed at which life shifts is often unpredictable. Success is determined not by avoiding disruption, but by the ability to respond effectively and transform setbacks into opportunities for growth. Adapting quickly is a deliberate skill that can be developed with awareness, practice, and strategic action. Every change presents a choice: resist and struggle, or assess and act decisively. Learning to pivot efficiently creates a mindset where obstacles no longer paralyze progress, but instead provide the impetus for improvement. Start by recognizing the reality of the situation immediately. Denial or delay in acknowledging change wastes energy and allows circumstances to control outcomes. Accept what has occurred without judgment, focus on the facts, and prepare to respond. Clear observation removes confusion and provides a solid foundation for strategic action. Assess available options quickly and objectively. When setbacks occur, examine all possible responses, considering both immediate and long-term consequences. Avoid emotional decision-making that reacts impulsively. Instead, prioritize actions that preserve momentum, minimize loss, and maximize potential benefit. The ability to weigh alternatives rapidly while maintaining clarity separates effective adaptation from stagnation. Shift focus from what went wrong to what can be done now. Dwelling on errors or failures creates stagnation and negative energy. Redirecting attention to actionable steps transforms frustration into productivity. Identify one or two immediate actions that can be implemented to regain control or mitigate impact. Momentum is built through focused effort, not rumination. Cultivate a flexible mindset as a core habit. Rigidity in thinking limits options and slows response. Practice seeing multiple pathways to success and remaining open to unconventional solutions. Flexibility allows you to leverage unexpected opportunities, adjust strategies, and convert disruption into advantage. The more adaptable your thinking becomes, the faster you can respond to any situation. Develop contingency planning proactively. Anticipate potential challenges in advance and outline possible responses. Preparing for variability reduces hesitation and panic when change occurs. A mindset equipped with alternative strategies turns uncertainty from a threat into a manageable factor. Effective adaptation is a product of preparation as much as real-time action. Train emotional control during transition. Sudden change often triggers fear, anxiety, or frustration. Manage these emotions through deliberate focus, deep breathing, or reflection. Maintaining composure ensures that decisions are rational, deliberate, and effective. Emotional mastery allows swift action rather than reaction, making adaptation more efficient and precise. Learn from each setback immediately. Every disruption carries insight into vulnerabilities, inefficiencies, or areas requiring skill development. Analyze what contributed to the situation, determine lessons, and integrate changes to prevent recurrence. Immediate application of lessons strengthens resilience and builds a proactive approach to future challenges. Each experience becomes a stepping stone rather than a stumbling block. Implement small corrective steps without delay. Waiting for perfect conditions or complete clarity can result in lost time. Begin with the actions that are clearly beneficial and feasible. Rapid iteration and adjustment allow progress to resume and set the stage for larger solutions. Incremental correction demonstrates control and reinforces confidence in the face of adversity. Maintain focus on long-term objectives even during disruption. Short-term setbacks can obscure vision, but anchoring in larger goals provides perspective. Evaluate how changes align with ultimate objectives and adjust strategies accordingly. Maintaining focus ensures that adaptations serve meaningful outcomes rather than merely reacting to circumstances. Seek external input when appropriate. Change can expose gaps in knowledge or perspective. Consulting mentors, peers, or experts provides insight and alternative approaches. Input from experienced individuals accelerates problem solving, reduces errors, and helps identify opportunities hidden within disruption. Combining personal initiative with informed guidance enhances adaptability. Embrace a proactive attitude toward change. Anticipate trends, shifts, and challenges before they force reaction. Preparing mentally and operationally allows rapid adaptation without unnecessary stress. Proactivity transforms uncertainty from a passive threat into an active arena for strategic maneuvering. Being ahead of change turns setbacks into advantages. Practice scenario planning regularly. Visualize potential disruptions and rehearse responses mentally. Mental preparation strengthens confidence and improves decision-making speed when real situations occur. Anticipating change reduces hesitation and ensures more effective adaptation. The brain becomes trained to approach unpredictability with composure and clarity. Strengthen problem-solving skills continuously. Quick adaptation requires the ability to identify effective solutions efficiently. Develop structured approaches to analyze situations, generate options, and implement strategies. A disciplined problem-solving process ensures that adaptation is not random, but methodical and reliable. Mastery of these skills reduces the impact of setbacks and accelerates recovery. Prioritize action over perfection. Perfectionism can delay response and exacerbate setbacks. Focus on executing timely solutions that move the situation forward. Iterative improvement can follow initial action. Prompt, decisive steps demonstrate control, reduce uncertainty, and maintain momentum despite change. Develop resilience through exposure to manageable disruptions. Regularly practice responding to smaller challenges to strengthen adaptability. Each successful navigation of minor setbacks reinforces confidence, sharpens decision-making, and prepares the mind to handle larger changes effectively. Resilience is built through experience, reflection, and consistent practice. Maintain a learning mindset at all times. Treat change as a teacher and setbacks as opportunities for improvement. Analyze outcomes, identify lessons, and integrate knowledge into future strategies. Continuous learning ensures that adaptation improves over time and that each challenge contributes to long-term capability rather than temporary survival. Document adaptive strategies and outcomes. Keeping a record of actions taken, responses implemented, and lessons learned creates a reference for future change. Reviewing past adaptations provides insight into what works, what does not, and how to respond more efficiently. Documentation transforms experience into structured intelligence for ongoing growth. Anchor adaptation in personal values and goals. When faced with change, ensure that responses align with principles and long-term vision. Adaptation should not compromise core integrity or direction, but should enhance progress toward meaningful objectives. Values act as a compass, guiding decisions during periods of uncertainty. Celebrate successful adaptation. Recognize when setbacks are transformed into productive outcomes. Reflection on successes reinforces confidence, reinforces adaptive habits, and motivates continued engagement with challenges. Positive reinforcement ensures that adaptation becomes habitual rather than reactive. Immediate actionable steps include assessing the current setback objectively, identifying one practical response, implementing the corrective action immediately, documenting the process, reflecting on lessons learned, adjusting ongoing strategies, and maintaining focus on long-term objectives. Repeating these steps consistently turns disruption into opportunity and accelerates growth. Adapting quickly to change and transforming setbacks immediately ensures that challenges no longer stall progress, but become catalysts for development. Through observation, rapid decision-making, emotional regulation, proactive preparation, and immediate application of lessons, setbacks are converted into actionable opportunities. Consistent practice of these principles creates agility, confidence, and momentum, allowing personal and professional goals to advance regardless of the unpredictability of life.